in the back line, doesn't want to make sure that Chriso has got his favorite champion.
Yeah, you want to make sure exactly that you want to make sure that you're not giving them something they're very, very comfortable on, because it could mean the game for you. Syndra banned out is the next one, and we see pretty much a standard ban nowadays as it's coming, it's coming in as well as a Lissandra on the
Lissandra comes out against Tundra. That makes a lot of sense. The guy plays Lissandra so much, and he is impactful every time he plays it. He actually plays Lissandra at such a high level, in my opinion. He knows when he should be frozen tombing the enemy and knows when he should be going in and frozen tombing himself. That is the mark of a great Lissandra player, and using that ultimate to the greatest effectiveness in a split-second decision to swing the team fight your way.
Yeah, a lot of solo lane focus here. Riven, Syndra, mid and top. Orianna and Lissandra both mid and top as well. We see the Sona being banned out for FM on top of Rift. Pretty standard. Sona is exceptionally strong in this patch.
Yeah, Sona really strong. Interestingly enough, it's actually Billy's best champion so far. He has such a high kill participation in it and likes to set up fights with that flash crescendo. Taking it away from Hado though, they don't want to give them the opportunity, and I'm guessing Billy and Sunwise don't want to lane up against Sona. Irelia coming out as a ban too. This makes a lot of sense, but it leaves Gnar open. Gnar is on the field.
Gnar is on the field, and I imagine Tundra will just pick that up. Exceptionally strong champion. Very, very safe as well. You can make the plays. You could just, and that going into Mega Gnar mode, going in on top of the enemy team, Gnaring them into a wall, and it's just such a good, strong engage. He's a very strong champion.
The thing about Gnar is when you pick him, you essentially have your teamfight composition sorted. Gnar aids every aspect of a team composition himself. He can practically be the engage, the control, and the disengage. He has all the tools that allow you to do that kind of thing. And when you pick around him, you don't have to pick around Gnar, because he essentially adds every single flavor to your team. And we've got LeBlanc coming in for Ramil. That's something that he is very, very good on. And this is going to be a Janna immediate lock-in. Makes a lot of sense going up against a Gnar.
Makes a lot of sense. You get that kite coming in as well. The LeBlanc has actually become very, very popular within 420 as that double burst. You're really looking for the double burst within patch 420, purely for the fact that dragons are so, so important. If you can get them early, if you can get them down onto your team, those perma stacks, you are setting yourself up very, very nicely for the late game. We see Corki getting locked in, and maybe Dan going to go for the Lee Sin.
Dan going to go for the Lee Sin. It is being hovered over. He may not lock it in yet. This may be a bit of a tease. Dan is a fantastic Lee Sin player, but also a fantastic Rammus player.
Very, very good. Zach being teased out as well. Not quite buffed just yet. He got little buffs in 4-2-1, but not quite buffed. Gonna go for the Pantheon. That would make a lot of sense to me with the Corki and the Gnar. Yep. He is gonna go with that one. Pantheon locked in.
Yeah, and we've also got Corki for Samwise. Probably one of his best champions, if not his best champion. He is fantastic. He always has impact on Corki. Always dominates laning phases, or if not, goes even so he can later make an impact. I'm very, very happy. We are going to see Samwise on potentially one of his best AD carries. Now we're giving the ball over to Rift. Where are they going to go from here?
I realistically think they need to try and pick their top laner. Keep their mid. They've already picked their mid laner, so I feel like if they get their top laner in, they don't know what the mid laner is as well, but they need to get their top laner and their AD carry. The jungler, not so much. I imagine they might go for a Jarvan. They might go for something like that. Warwick was not banned out. Very much a strong pick in this. We know this for a fact. But will they go for... I don't know if it will work out. They may go for maybe a Lucian Warwick, maybe Jarvan. I'm feeling more Jarvan than Warwick, but...
Well, you've got to think, Lucian is up, Graves is up. They're going to go for Lucian and Aatrox here. Aatrox certainly going to go up the top lane against Tundra. Would be very surprised to see an Aatrox jungle. We haven't seen it for a long time. Obviously, he has the sustain, but it may be unlikely to see him going into that role. Billy, we said it was on his player sheet. That Nami is up in there for him, and he's going to take that away with a potential fizz for Chriso.
I don't know if I like this pick. Purely for the fact that LeBlanc can do just as well. We don't know if it's locked in. Yeah, I was just going to say, just as I was about to go on a spiel. Kind of going for something like that with Xerath left up as well for Chriso. I imagine he would go for the Xerath. You get that long range poke, you get the farm or the wave clear. You have so much control over the game, and just use it in terms of artillery. Kind of mid and AD carry. You just stay at the back lines and throw out skill shots.
The way that FM plays, they could funnel gold onto Chriso's Xerath. He really loves to play that champion. He's played it at an exceptional level in all of the group stages we've seen so far. They're going to funnel gold onto him, and he's going to have this impact before team fights even potentially start. You funnel gold onto a Xerath, the AP builds, and suddenly those Volcano pulses, they're taking a lot of health before you even look to get a team fight started.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's on Ramil, really, with that LeBlanc to really make the plays happen. He has to be the one to push out Xerath. He has to be the one to go roaming early to try and get his lane snowballing, because right now, Xerath, Corki, Pantheon, Gnar, they're all really good lane bullies. They're all people who will win out on their lane. Pantheon able to help his lane as well. I feel like there's a lot of pressure being put on Ramil right now.
Yeah, Ramil definitely needs to live up to the hype and step up to the plate for Rift right now, because up in the top lane, it will be okay, but obviously you're still going up against a Gnar. Tundra are very, very good on that champion, and it's still a melee champion. There's nothing more that almost can be said about that. Now, the reason Aatrox used to get picked into Rise is because he had a very early good engage that you could jump on very easily with that Dark Flight, get a lot of damage down early on, and also had the sustain to sort of back up the poke you were receiving from these ranged champions. I have never seen the matchup against Gnar. I'm going to be really interested to see if it works in a similar way to Rise. Are we going to see a very early aggressive Aatrox coming out from Chunky? It does suit his playstyle in the sense he does like to go aggressive. He does like to get the damage down and try and win 1v1, then look to snowball the game. We're going to see Maxlaw on Jarvan. Now, we've talked a lot about Maxlaw. He's very, very famous in the UK scene for his Rengar. Pre-420, used to get banned out almost consistently versus him. Now we're not seeing it on the board at all. Maybe it's just that Rengar doesn't quite work as well as he used to. The jungle's a little bit less forgiving. You need the more sustain to keep yourself healthy, and obviously there's only very minimal sustain built into Rengar's kit. So we're seeing Maxwell go into these more teamfight controlled junglers like Jarvan the Fourth, looking to get the engage and the cataclysm, looking to control the team fights. He is essentially onto a champion that really suits his playstyle. I'm looking forward to seeing how the team composition is going to work out, though. You've got two champions here, the LeBlanc and Aatrox, that will be really looking to get picks. Dark Flight into the combo from LeBlanc, follow up, and then the engage from Jarvan. You're going up against what's basically full-on teamfight composition. There is a big AoE-centered role here for Tundra, making sure he controls the teamfight. I mean, going into this, what's your gut reaction? What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking personally that LeBlanc is a really, really good pick. It's very strong right now. The double burst, if they even try go for Dragon, all that Ramil has to do is jump in and just try and just delay it as long as he can, which he can do with his Deceive. As well as that, like, you have so much poke coming out from FM. You have so much backline thing. It's going to be exceptionally hard for anyone to really jump on top of them. And it's going to be really, really difficult to see. And as I said before we even came to the pick and bans, first Dragon fight is going to be huge because it's just going to be one of those things that, you know, if they go for the early level 2 with the Pantheon, as I said, we might see that as well. But they need to make sure it's water. They need to make sure it's going for a Rift. And they need to make sure that they're there to react for it.
Yeah, obviously you're going to be likely going to be starting up the blue side. Unless there's any lane swaps coming in. We haven't looked at that yet. We're not sure if that will come up from both teams. You're likely going to be starting the top side Pantheon, move down towards your red, and then rotate around and try and get that early Dragon on the board. It's a little bit more difficult to do that because of the way vision is usually placed on the purple side. So a lot of purple side bot lanes will ward up that tri-brush moderately early on. You can get caught out fairly easily as Pantheon moves down. We are just getting into the game here, guys. Level 1 action on the board. We're not seeing any group ups, though. Looks like a very defensive spread here as we get into our first game between FM eSports and Perilous Rift. Best of 3 coming your way.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game. And realistically, level 1, are we expecting much to happen? Or are we just kind of thinking defensive, just make sure no one gets in the buff?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, unless they've got an early game plan that they immediately want to look to execute, I would expect very defensive plays. They want to make sure they get off on the right foot in the first of a best of 3 series. However, like we said, there was going to be some early plays from Dan. Either he's going to go aggressive on the ganks or he'll really be looking to get some pressure down on the Dragon. Actually, we're already seeing distortion coming out from Ramil, so he's going to be looking to want to push the waves very early on. Yeah,
I've seen a couple of LeBlancs do this now. You level up your distortion very quickly. It gives you that little bit of wave clear that LeBlanc's not really usually known for in an early game, so you're able to get the roam on, as you said. But it's going to be very, very difficult to try and roam, especially with the farm, centric man that is Zerat. So just trading abilities there, the Boomerang and the Dark Flight coming in from the top lane. Tundra just checking out everything, drop a ward, nothing too crazy, kind of what we expected.
Now, we've seen Dan play Pantheon in a super aggressive way before as well. He actually likes to go straight into his enemy's jungle. We could even see him get his buff rotation and look to put pressure down on Maxlaw early on. Now, it's not too much of a deal to deal with Maxlaw in that way. Maxlaw, although he does sometimes try to put early pressure down, doesn't always succeed in the best manner. He has to wait a little bit to make his impact. The majority of what we see and a lot of the highlights that we've seen, he's made the teamfight plays that has set his team up to carry from behind him. However, this time round, you're going up against Dan, far more aggressive than the junglers he's faced previously.
Yeah, exactly. We see now the Krugs and the Grump being started up by both bot lanes. This is a new interesting style. We saw it in the previous series as well. They tend to go for this just to try and get that early level 2. It does kind of take you down a little bit. If they share experience, it should work out for both bot lanes. Not much of a difference really between the two.
No, really, you basically share experience. You're looking to get an early level 2, but it's kind of counteracted the fact that both bot lanes will be looking to do this. It just depends on who can get the push based on the minions. You do miss the start of the minion wave engagement, so a lot of it is how you can control it as soon as that engagement has gone down. We are seeing Maxlaw. He is up on that red buff side. He's going to go straight down to his blue. But Dan right now has got the jump on him. He's a little bit ahead of the jungle. Are we going to see him look to go aggressive after this red buff?
Yeah, we've seen now in the last game, you know, Pantheons tend to look for that level 2 gank, try burn a flash or something like that. You see the level 2 advantage did go towards Perilous Rift. They tried to push it, but again, Billy Fufu and Samwise, they're not going to be bullied out as easily.
No, and Hado and Surskot obviously lacking sustain in that lane that Nani looks to provide. She will have the slightly more forgivable lane. If you can look to bait out the shield or look to get damage down when the shield's down, that's really starting to chip away at the advantage that you'll start to have. But again, these guys have a lot of respect for each other. These guys are playing against each other loads and loads in the UK scene, so expect fireworks when the engagements do come down because they know how quickly it can turn.
Yeah, actually the junglers are going to find each other. It's going to be 3v3. Here comes the flash storm coming in. They're trying to get on top of Sir Scott, but it's not going to be enough. They're trying to turn it around a little bit. Maxlord knows he's been spotted out, so he's not going to waste his time. It's a good gank there from Dan. They're going to back away. Pressure though still with FM. Dan
burnt his flash for absolutely no summoners though on the side of Rift. So Sir Scott has the pressure put down on him now, but the wave is pushing towards him. That's going to be immediately relaxed when they get towards the turret. Maxlaw, however, looking to make his own impact now.
There is no ward down here. He may be able to get in on top of this very, very sneakily. There's nothing here for them to say this. But Billy Fufu kind of smells something though. He's coming around. I think he's just going to get jumped on a little bit. Ward goes down. There goes the flag and drag. Ebb and flow thrown out as well. Samwise just pushing the wave by himself. And it looks like it's just going to be another gank going awry. But Billy Fufu using that 6th sense.
Interesting. Maxlaw waited a little bit in that tri-brush, didn't look to immediately execute his gank. Tundra actually getting taken moderately low in this top lane. Chunky definitely having his way with the sustain that he has through that bloodthirst. However, interesting that Maxlaw decided to stick around. I found that a questionable play. Maybe he'd immediately go for on Tundra.
Whoa, Tundra comes in, uses the deceive, uses the ignite. That's going to be first blood going down to Unite. Amazing play by Ramil. They do use the blood well off Chunky, but that's why he went in for the dive. He knew he could sustain from a great gank there from Ramil.
Oh, Ramil with the early pressure. Who would have expected the level 4 LeBlanc to come up and tower dive a Gnar? Got him right before. Oh, Chunky!
Oh no, Chunky gets caught on. He will have to burn it. Oh, nearly gets the Dark Flight outside, but not quite enough. Dan just quick on his toes there to get in and get that kill. It ends up being a trade 1-for-1, but Ramil did get the kill. Ramil was able to pick up the gold in the first blood, and that's pretty big for LeBlanc.
Yeah, starting to lose a little bit of pressure in lane, but actually the wave is stuck in the middle, so he hasn't even lost too much to the turret right now. It's not too bad at all. Dan also picking up the kill is pretty good for FM. He likes to be ahead. He likes to be able to control from that dominant ahead position that you can be as a Pantheon. You can do a lot of damage in the early to mid game if you've got those kills behind you, and immediately you're seeing him pick up the remnants of the Warrior enchantment for that range of Trailblazer.
Yeah, and looks like, you know, Jan and Jarvan just using the buddy system right now, making sure they can get in and out of their enemy jungle, because they know that that early dragon is definitely on the cards now for FM. So this is smart. This is a very, very smart play from Rift, making sure they're still safe.
And what's so interesting about the way that Ramil moved up to the top lane is he knew that there wasn't much that could be capitalized on by FM, because they had a good control in the bot lane too, and they knew Dan was on the top side of the jungle. They knew he wasn't going to be going towards that dragon, so the immediate roam up there meant they didn't lose anything in return. They weren't going to lose their turret that early on from a very small roam. Very, very good play from Ramil, but obviously fantastic play from Dan to pick up the counter kill.
Yeah, he's got his boots of mobility without actually having to buy them. He kind of thought that they would be, old habits die hard. You try to stay in the same bush too many times, people tend to find out. As we see now, the passive farming comes back. Great vision control, though, in the enemy red side jungle for Rift. They have got that red side just behind the dragon.
Dan's here, though. Dan is here.
Dan is here. He jumps on top of Scott. They have to use the flash from him. They're trying to turn it back around right now, and Dan's in a little bit of trouble. not going to be able to jump onto him straight away. They are going to back away from it, but right now, Dan putting a lot of emphasis on this bot lane.
And this is what you see from Dan. He puts so much pressure down early on, burns the flash of Sir Scott, just from fantastic vision control in that early bot lane. It's actually something you can exploit through lane ganks fairly easily, because you don't have a lot of vision to choose from with just that trinket ward in your back pocket. So a lot of good decisions coming out from Dan, and I feel like Maxlaw is just trying to catch up at this point as Ramil takes a lot of damage, and you see the passive from LeBlanc coming out.
Yeah, nice little, that's why you don't face check realistically. As we see the ultimate actually coming out, he needs to just get one more. There's 3. Oh, not quite enough though. Ramil able to get out with just his life. Christo going to try to get one last Q off. Doesn't really have the range to get it. Ramil going to have to go back to base. But good play there by Christo, able to put the pressure down, keeps mid lane in his favor.
I think Christo knew the song of Right to the Arcane, because his dancing shoes were on for that juking right there. Again, Tundra Chunky lane going very evenly despite that passive being down for Chunky. Tundra just biding his time, and you can see, you're seeing exactly how Tundra plays. The CS is already well in his advantage. This is exactly how he likes to get ahead. He has the highest CS of any top laner from the 4 nations right now. And you're seeing that reflected, immediately building up their advantage, even though he went down very early on.
Yeah, exactly, and we see actually pretty much CS advantages in every single lane for FM, so they are playing right up to their expectations of just being farm heavy laners and junglers. We see now,
oh, the ultimate.
Oh, there's going to be more so looking at the Dragon as we wait to see Jarvan and Janna coming down this. They saw the Grand Skyfall in the top lane. They know Pantheon's not going to be coming down for this. They are going to be able to juggle this, but Billy Vufu is still nearby. They should be able to take this Dragon.
Yeah, they got a lot of pressure here, and Dan obviously committing that ultimate to the top lane does mean that he's not going to be able to react to this. He's looking to make something of it though, as the first Dragon does go down to Rift, that 8% AD and AP in their back pocket. Dan not resting on his laurels, going to go and take that red buff away.
Yeah, that's a good little trade for him. He ends up getting losing his ultimate, but gets his one back. You see the chains there. Ramil gets caught up by the stun as well. He saves his clone.
Oh, wow.
He gets one turret. It's going to be auto attacks. It's going to be one more. Oh, Christo takes the kill. That was so intense. Ramil tried to use the clone. It wasn't enough. Christo comes out on top.
That was crazy. The standing still there from Ramil was so fantastic. He just messed it up right at the end, but it was so close. All came down to auto attacks. You don't often see that in mid lane. So fantastic. And Tundra and Chunky looked like they had a bit of a back and forth. Tundra getting the better of it though. Chunky having to back off.
Yeah, Chunky did have to battle off. Tundra will be able to sustain. He's got the double Dorans. Chunky hasn't really got anything to go in because he is melee versus the range and the boomerang. But Tundra going to end up hitting his Mega Narno, probably going to go back. But again, Dragon did go in favor and exchange that for a red buff. Still pretty much worth for Rift in this early game.
Yeah, and Dan actually getting a lot of pressure with these buffs he's going to have. Maxlaw's not going to have that red buff to put pressure down. Obviously, Jarvan not in need of it necessarily if you can get a good flag and drag combo, but you do often like to get that red buff auto attack down to start the gank sometimes, get the slow down, and he won't have that for the next few minutes. So be a little bit more difficult for him as the ultimate comes out.
Whoa, there goes the tidal wave. I see what he was trying to do there. Dan was just a little bit too slow. I feel like there's a little bit of a miscommunication as they did spot him coming down, or didn't spot him coming down. They saw him come around from the side. Little bit of a waste there from Billy Fufu.
Yeah, exactly. But it is on a shorty school down as another ultimate.
Yeah, we go back down to the bot lane. Ultimate comes in. Grand Skyfall. They put down the exhaust on top of him there. Janna goes down. They burst him down straight away. Bubble does land on Sir Scott. They will have more going into it. It's going to be Pantheon picking up a double kill. But right in the mid lane, there was a gank from Maxlor. They get another kill onto Ramil. Pretty much trading, but 2 kills in the bot lane, that is pretty big. Yeah,
a lot of gold going down onto Dan as well. He's going to have to step up and be that carry for his team right now. He needs to make sure that he's controlling the next few dragon fights. They know when the dragon's coming up. This is big for FM. They have a jungler that has the potential to control these team fights around the dragon. He's got a lot of gold in his back pocket, and the mobility boots have come out, as there's a lot of damage here coming down onto this mid lane turret.
Yeah, mid lane turret being taken
Could
there
go
by
down.
the monk. It might go down, actually. You're dead right. They're just about going to get away from it, though. Ramil's kind of thinking about it. I think one more auto attack would have done it. Janna did go down to the bot lane, did save that turret from Samwise, so realistically they kind of traded turret damage pretty damn equally. Hado, though, needs to be careful. Needs to back away. Those missile barrages are going to hurt so much. Really not doing him any favors. See Chunky Tundra trying to go in on each other, but I don't think you want to take this fight, Chunky. It's not the one you want to be fighting. Pantheon is waiting around the side, so is Jarvan. So they are trying to see if they can get something on. I feel like Chunky's trying to bait him. He has got his blood well. Pantheon comes in, Dan trying to get something from this. Jarvan is coming up, Ramil's coming up as well. This is going to be a huge engagement right now. Dan gets jumped upon. They're still jumping on top of him. He has no flash right now. He's going to be able to get jumped on. They're trying to jump back onto it. There goes the Iverton, comes in, Darkfly and the Tormented Blaze. They get a trade 1-for-1 right now. They're trying to see it, but oh, Ramil just about survives. Just about gets out of range of the Xerath ultimate, but in the end it is 2 kills going in favor of Rift.
This is really lovely rotations from Rift, and they're really looking to utilize Chunky's passive in this top lane to make sure that the rotations are coming out from Ramil. Chriso not putting enough pressure on that mid lane to penalize Ramil for moving out of lane. You're going to see it now. He is going to push up to that turret, but he could have been doing that way earlier. I think he was a little bit back from lane and then tried to respond with that Right of the Arcane, obviously just being a little bit out of range to get the killing blow onto Ramil, but a 2-1-2 LeBlanc at this stage in the game, looking scary. Here we go.
Yeah, this is
gonna see Dan coming.
Crazy fight.
Yeah, Dan gets a little bit engaged on here, and he's getting he wants to turn around, and Tundra is looking to turn. They go immediately onto Maxwell, and they can pick up the kill, but they just get burst by Ramil and Chunky. You can't compete with that kind of burst damage, especially from a LeBlanc at this stage in the game, and there you see the Right of the Arcane just being walked out of range by Ramil.
As you said, he does know the dance to the Right of the Arcane, because that song is just not doing anything for Xerath, or for Chriso, I should say. And this is exactly what we were talking about. Ramil is making the plays he has to make.
Yeah.
He's the one who's been roaming around. He's been pushing Chriso back, and Chriso hasn't been doing his job. He hasn't been able to maintain it.
The analyst before the game picked up on the fact that Ramil is the token point. He is the pivot point for Rift. If he does well, Rift does well. Tundra and the team are keeping up fairly well. They are ahead in gold by 2.3k at this point in time. A lot of it to do with the CS differences, and also they've got that turret behind them too. But Ramil has got a lot of burst on him right now. He's got that Morellonomicon. He's got a big power spike. If he can look to utilize that, look to continue to make plays, as long as FM aren't responding, they could look to snowball a little bit further.
Yeah, they definitely could. And something I actually wanted to touch on, we didn't touch on the pre-game lobby, is a lot of teams seem to try and just, you know, focus on Tundra in that top lane. But we've said it before, he's a passive farmer. He's still ahead in farm despite receiving multiple ganks in that top lane. He's not losing, you know, and that suits FM just fine, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. It really does.
And anyway, look at the big deep vision control coming out from Rift as they look to set up for this dragon. FM aren't in a position to contest this right now. They've actually got to get themselves ready and waiting to go and head towards this dragon. Tundra's got to back and make sure he's there to look like they can get a contest off, because without Tundra it's going to be so difficult to get their presence down around this dragon area. Billy needs to get some wards down. They need to look to claim back that red side jungle, because there's a lot of deep vision coming out from Rift, and it looks like FM have got this in their minds.
Yeah, and it does look like the FMR really want to contest for this. Dragon is just about to spawn. It's crawling around the side of the thing. So this could be a huge fight right now. A lot of key ultimates are up. Flashes are still down, though, for 1 or 2 people, as we see Chunky just up in the top lane. He's going to keep going. He has got his TP. This could be huge.
This is huge because Tundra and the team now have to be decisive. They need to look to engage, or at least get something out of it, because they're going to lose a lot of pressure in the top lane. As wow, Ramil takes a lot of damage, and this is what Chriso can do on that Xerath, and here you're going to see it. Yeah. Could just be a back off from Rift here.
This could be a back off. They may just try and push in that mid lane. They will go down. So that's a dragon going down pretty damn easily. They may pick up 2 towers here. They'll definitely pick up this top tower, as there is no TP from Tundra, but they are going to be able to keep the mid-turn turret. So again, like the analysts were talking, is it worth it when you lose that first dragon? Pretty much at this stage, you can say yes. Yeah,
they definitely knew what they were doing when they were just didn't want to even contest, because obviously they had no time to react to that first dragon. But you saw Chriso basically won the fight before it even started. Because Ramil is such a key point for Rift right now, he went so low from a singular combo from Chriso, they couldn't look to commit to that fight, because Ramil would instantly be focused. I like the LeBlanc pick as Tundra's Lissandra is banned. There's not a lot of easy ways to immediately lock up, bar getting a good Shocking Orb or Pantheon, but it's really looking to struggle right now because he's getting sort of destroyed before the fight is even taking place.
Yeah, and as I said, the missile barrages, all the different abilities coming out, the long-range poke from Chriso and from Samwise is making it exceptionally difficult for Ramil to make those plays from the flanks, or even to go just straight in and get the burst down.
The way you used to play LeBlanc and the way a lot of people do tend to play it is you look to make picks before the fight starts. It's a lot harder now that you don't have that silence. You cannot get a basically unquestioned return trade. without that silence, you've got to be more picky about when you choose to go in. He did try to do something with the ethereal chains, but Chriso was immediately on top of that. And really, they're looking to make picks with the LeBlanc so they could get the kills before the fight start. If it's in an open battlefield, there's a lot of dangers that Ramil's going to face when he looks to get a pick off.
Yeah, and we see now, let's have a quick look at the golds. Not too many discrepancies, about 400 or 500 pretty much in each lane, but the biggest one, as you can see, would be in that jungle. Huge amount of gold in favor of Pantheon, of Dan, I should say, as we do see the Cataclysm going down. They're trying to jump on him. Everyone going in. Here comes the TP as well. I feel like this is overkill. Good tidal wave as well.
Wow, Ramil.
3 people. Ramil going to have to try and juke out. Oh my god, he's just not able to get it. They get the Scuttlebug, which is really the biggest victory in all of this, and they back away. Only a couple of flashes and ultimates burned, but Rift looking to be aggressive.
Yeah, Cataclysm for a Scuttlebug, I'd say worth every single time. But no, that was a lot of committing to Dan, and actually Billy Fufu's reactionary tidal wave cut off a lot of the follow-up aggression. And to be honest, really nice players. Tundra gets into that Mega Gnar form, looking to get a lot of pressure down on this turret. A little bit more difficult to push the turret when you're in the Mega Gnar form, as obviously you head into that melee phase. Samwise, Power Spike hit, Sorcerer's Boots, Trinity Force. Yeah,
he is absolutely huge right now. We did see Sir Scott going for the Avarice Blade with that BF Sword and the pickaxe, so he's not actually not really at a Power Spike right now. He's waiting to kind of stack that up. He's probably going to go with a Static Shiv and IE first. But, as you say, Triforce Sorc Shoes, 20 CS ahead, 2 assists. He's not doing badly at all.
Oh, Chunky.
Yeah, Chunky. Yes, throws away. Dark Flight forces the flash. There's a flash as well. They may be able to get something. Tundra. He's sighted so low. One more Dark Flight will be up in 2 seconds. They're both slow. There it is. The increased range. Chunky picks up a kill. And this is the carry top that we were talking about.
Yeah, and Dan, look at the damage.
Oh my god. Dan gets absolutely obliterated. It's a great flag and drag as well. The culling comes out. It's hitting the minions though. Maxlor trying to do everything again. Christo throws his Q out the wrong way. Not quite sure. There goes the kill. He flashes. So does Maxlor. They're trying to keep going. It's going to be Samwise. Ramil just jumps in. He's not good enough damage. It's not going to be enough. They're trying to jump on top of everybody here. There goes the kill. Billy Fufu. It's going to be the next target. I don't think they can die this. Oh my god, I'm totally wrong. Caster's Curse strikes again. But here we go again. It's going to be Samwise trying to defend. They may push into this top turret though.
That was a big swing right there, and all started a bit of a morale boost taking down Tundra. He's forced to teleport to protect the lane. Again, so much damage coming out from Ramil. Those ethereal chains chunked so hard though. We're going to see it just now. You can see Ramil gets the damage onto Dan. He immediately goes down. That's such a big presence out of the fight because he had all of their gold. Christo looking to get some damage out, and the Arcano Pulse going the wrong way there. Finally gets taken out as the LeBlanc comes through. Does go through down herself though to Samwise, but again, really nice play from Rift. Can't state how much impetus they had from taking down Dan immediately beforehand.
Yeah, Ramil getting a little bit greedy though. Shouldn't have really dived that far. Tried to get the chain off and get that extra proc of damage as we look to see everyone starting to build up. Dragon up in a minute and a half. Everyone's starting to go around, make sure they have vision control around it as we see Tundra taking in that top lane.
Interestingly enough, Rift didn't actually get too much from that fight, and you've seen there was actually a return turret in favor of FM. So although the fight was really good, they didn't really look to capitalize on it, and although the gold from getting kills is great, you really need to look to start to snowball. It's so much harder to snowball on 420 because of how difficult it is to finish. There's always these buffs that allow anti-sieging or sieging, and you've got the shields on those inner turrets, making it ever so much harder to go for dives, to go for pushes onto those turrets. As Ramil looks to get damage down again.
Oh, damage baited and outsmarted realistically. They go for the clone, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be Ramil dodging out all those skill shots again. He is just not being touched. Oh! Nearly gets it off there, the boomerang, but that's going to force them back. But luckily for them, they got the Dragon Timer wrong, and it's going to be 40 seconds until it respawns, so they're not doing too badly.
Rift a little bit eager there to set up for the Dragon, and unfortunately again Ramil looking to make a pre-fight pick and just getting return damage. And you saw, if Dan has that stun up and Ramil chooses to go aggressive with Distortion, you're going to see her take a lot of damage. Luckily Distortion has had that 1 second increase in which you can get back to your original position. I actually think that might have saved the day for Ramil right there. He did also have his dancing shoes on once again, and you saw no harm done from right of the Arcane as Tundra roars as the Dragon comes down.
Yeah, they're trying to see they are in perfect position. They should be able to zone out in the entire Rift team from this Dragon. This could be the second Dragon for them, third one of the game, going in favor of FM. Realistically, they have to let it go, but I don't know if Maxlor really wants to let it go. He's taking a lot of poke. They are going to lose this. They're trying to jump onto Maxor. Here we go. We get a
wow.
nice Tundra. Everyone going in. They completely burst down Samwise. He is out of the fight. They're trying to go back in. Maxor is dead. Pantheon is down. The two junglers. Janet also goes down. But it's Chunky doing all the damage. He's trying to go in triple kill going onto Gnar. It is now a 3-for-3 right now. LeBlanc, Aatrox, the only two left. And Aatrox and Xerath and Nami. Big fight. They still, though, denied the dragon.
They denied the dragon, key aspect of their fight, and Christo was not touched. Christo was doing damage from the backline all through that fight. You cannot let this Xerath. I'm going to see it again here. As Maxlaw is so low right now, he knows he has to get something off before he goes down. He tries to go in, doesn't actually do much, but the Cataclysm does isolate Billy Pooper and Christo. Right now, though, it's all about Tundra. Gets a lot of damage down. He goes straight into the fight there. And again, Sir Scott and Ramil taking a lot of damage from Christo in the backline. Christo was the artillery cannon of FM right there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate fight though for FM, as Samwise was completely bursted down by Chunky and Maxlor. Just unbelievably taken out of the fight, as we do see them trying to get some more vision control.
Oh, Maxlor.
Oh no, Maxlor, he gets great comboed of CC. They take out the jungler. There's no way now that Perilous Rift can defend this dragon. That is the second dragon for FM Esports.
Yeah, obviously taking out the jungler is the key target when you're looking to set up for dragons. You see Choke do this a lot, and you're seeing something similar from FM. They're really turning up the heat in this best of 3 right now. They are hungry to go on and face Choke in the finals, and we're seeing FM step it up. They really are looking like a very strong team at this point. Nice catch onto Maxlaw, a little bit out of position. The chain CC was brilliant. Here's Tundra coming to defend this tower again. Yeah,
Tundra comes in, but he's actually going to go out straight on. There's 3 people here. He is getting absolutely decimated in that fight. Nowhere for him to go. He jumped into them despite seeing 2 people. I felt like he was just trying to delay for his team. Didn't work out.
I think he was expecting to hit that Mega Nav form, then look to get an engage. Unfortunately, he was too eager. He went a little bit too quickly, and Pantheon, Dan, could not follow up with his ultimate quick enough. Obviously, Chriso tried to do what he could with the right of the arcane, but Tundra went down very quickly there.
Yeah, he definitely did. Maxlor going to pick up the XP now and the gold from this little bit of a minion wave in that bot lane. As everyone starts to calm down, everyone's starting to get a bit more vision. The Scuttlebug again, Rift making sure they keep 100% objective control over that. And then they're going to keep pushing the waves. Right now it is 3 turrets to 2 in favor of FM. Only about a 1,600 gold lead, so they're not a huge amount of gold ahead.
Ramil.
Despite looking ahead, but here we go. Ramil coming in. I feel like he thinks something's up. Ooh, they're trying to go for it. No, he's going to jump out of the side. Ramil, though, taking a lot of poke back himself, still trying to be aggressive.
We're seeing a lot of this coming out from Ramil. There's some deep wards in the jungle for Rift, so they can guess where Dan is when he moves through these areas that are highlighted for them. And Ramil is really looking to take junglers down in their own jungle, using the burst on a one-on-one situation. He knows he could probably take Pantheon, but you've got to remember Dan, he's actually quite ahead in gold at this point. He's a scary guy to contend with. And Ramil, there's immediate backup from right to the arcane. He needs to be a little bit more careful as he chooses to go in for that, because we saw he tried it at red buff, didn't work out for him, tried it at the wolves, maybe could have got a bit more damage down, but immediately there was a lot of follow-up from FM, a lot of collapse. These guys are on point when it comes to backing up their teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 huge items, though, finished up on top of Tundra. He's got the Banshees, he's got the Sunfire Cape, so he's going to be exceptionally difficult just to try and take down in these long, extended team fights. You have a Bork built on top of Aatrox. A lot of big items being picked up. Actually, I'm just going to make a point that Pantheon, or Dan, hasn't really finished an item in quite a while. He finished up his mobility boots and his home guards relatively quickly, though.
Yeah, exactly. He's got another Brutalizer as Scott takes a lot of damage right there. Wow, that was so much before the team fight starts around this point. He's going to have to go back. Right at the arcane coming out right now.
Yeah, right, the arcade comes in. Chunky trying to jump on the top of everybody, but here comes so much damage coming down. No one has died yet. There goes Ramil. Chunky is going to get the Bloodwell popped, but there's nothing that Janet can do. Hado tries his best. Great Aqua Prism, though, is going to seal his fate, and they're going to be able to take this mid-inner turret. Going to be a great fight for FM. They really did exactly what they needed to do.
We've talked about it. Christo is winning these fights before they're even taking place. All it requires is a little bit of follow-up from FM, and immediately they are starting to dominate as it comes to this. Really well played from FM right now. They're going to get an inhibitor for the reward of their good play.
That is huge for this team right now. The one thing that could really stop FM from really winning this game was cracking the base, because they haven't got a lot of people who can just get at the turret, but that was absolutely massive. Let's go to the replay.
You're going to see it here. Christo takes Samwise so very low with the then tries to get the right of the arcane down, but already Chunky has looked to engage. Dan is the target, and they manage to take him down very low. Ramil again goes very aggressive, gets taken out with a beautiful Arcano Pulse on a distortion location, and they're going to take out Chunky too with beautifully timed bubble coming out from Billy Cooper.
Yeah, where he was. Nami bubble from Billy Fufu was insane. Oh, Samwise. Oh, no. He gets caught out. And now Tundra is the target one. He's forced to flash, but I don't think Hado's really done with him. Jana really wants to get the skill. They're trying to get something back from it. There comes the flash. There comes the Kato kill of them. This is a huge chase for just one kill. They still have to deal with the big damage dealer, which is...
Oh, he's in Mega Narf.
He's in Mega Narf form. He gets the heal ball. That's a great ultimate into the wall. They finally take him down, but German take him down. LeBlanc is the next target. There's Christo with a blue buff still doing all this damage. They didn't even focus on once. He's trying to get some more onto Sir Scott. Here comes the culling onto Christo. He's going to be taking a full culling to the face, so he's going to have to back away from that. They're going to take a war now, but that was an over aggression there from Rift. Really did punish them.
Way too overextending into the jungle there. They couldn't even burst Tundra. He had half a rage bar to fill before he went down, and then he hit that Mega Gnar film and got a great Gnar ultimate off there. It was fantastic, and again, Christo came in from the backlines doing what he's done all game, and it doesn't look like Rift have cottoned on how to engage here. They're not focusing the right targets. You've got to take out Christo before you can even look to take out some of the other members, but it's a little bit more difficult when you've got Gnar sitting in the front lines, you've got Pantheon sitting in the front lines, and you've got to remember, Dan at this point doing a lot of damage himself.
Yeah, Dan himself has got a Hex Drinker and a Brutalizer as well as that jungle item. He's doing so much for his team, and I almost feel like FM are baiting Ramil into these kind of picks, if you like, because he thinks he's caught someone out, which he did with Samwise, which was a very good pick, but then he went after Tundra, and it just overextended so long. They just got him, kept him alive long enough so that he was able to get Mega Gnar form and just get the kill.
I understand extending maybe for the AD carry, for the mid laner. Those are targets that you know there's a potential to burst quickly, but you're going up against Tundra. He's got Banshees, he's got Sunfire Cape. The guy has got resistances for days.
Yeah.
He can really look to defend out and stall out while his team reacts, and we've seen how FM reacts when someone gets caught out. They are there to back each other up, and Rift have not cottoned onto that yet.
No, they really haven't. And Tundra, as we said, completely different play style to what Chunky plays. He is not there to carry his team. He is only there to stand in their way and make sure they can't get at Christo and Samwise. But needs to be a little bit more proactive. Can't be getting caught. He did turn it around, thankfully, to his passive, but he needs to be a little bit more careful. His passive's going to pop now in a few seconds, so he needs to make it. This is the problem with Gnar, and effectively, he needs to make an engage now. He needs to fight before his passive comes back down.
They're just going to wait this out. They're going to wait it out until his passive goes down, and then they know they've got a grace period where they can look to exploit, as again Ramil takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, Ramil takes a lot of damage. It's going to be Tundra going to try to take out the dragon as well, but that is LeBlanc completely out of this fight. She has to go back. Lucian is going towards that bot lane. I think that Rift are completely giving up this dragon. That's going to be dragon number 3 for FM going in their favor.
Again, I feel like this is a repeating story right now. Ramil going down before dragons as an engage trying to come out from Billy, and a Chunky's Dark Flight saves the day for him. I've got to say, this repeating story, Rift are just letting Ramil get too aggressive. He's taking too much damage from Christo, and then they're giving up objectives. They need to do something about it, or they're going to lose the game.
They really are. Ramil gets caught out. He's going to get so much damage. He gets burst out completely. Tundra, he's already got his passive form back up again. Mega Gnar comes out. They may even push into this next turn. I think they should. I don't know why Tundra is not tanking this, to be perfectly honest, but they are going to try to get so much more damage. It could have, honestly, I feel like Tundra should have just went in and just tanked that up completely. They would have been able to take it a lot quicker, but they should take it still.
They've got free flight right now. Without Ramil, it's going to be so difficult. As a nice aggressive ultimate from Dan zones them away from the top. 2 inhibitors down. This game is looking bleak for Perilous Rift.
It really is. Two inhibitors down now. The middle one will be respawning relatively soon, but they're just going to rotate and take that all over again, and there is nothing that Rift can do right now. They need a god play to really just save them from this.
They need to take out Christo.
Yep.
If Christo goes down, they have a little bit more of a chance in these team fights, but you've got to remember Samwise, he's also sitting on a lot of damage himself. He's no mean feat, having the Trinity Force, the Bloodthirst, the Sorcerer Shoes, and almost a Last Whisper. Actually, FM are going to bring themselves back out of this one, as they've got a big wave that they know that Rift are going to have to deal with in this top lane. Now they've opened the gates. They've got those 3 dragon buffs on the board. That opens up the damage to towers and structures, and then eventually that ever so powerful 5 dragon buff, which doubles all of your previous buffs. That is going to be something that's in the back of Rift mind, let alone even trying to gain control over this Baron area.
Yeah, and I think FM will be playing the smart. Go back, pick up a couple of big items. We see the Last Whisper being finished up on top of Samwise Corki. He's going to pick up a Null Magic Mantle as well to get the bit of Magic Resist, make sure he's not caught out completely. The Lock of the Iron Solari was finished quite a while ago on Perilous Rift's Max Lore, so it's going to help him a little bit, but the Void Staff, trying so many damage items that there's not a lot that a Perilous Rift can do.
I mean, a pause has just come out. Maxwell obviously finishing that Rocket of the Iron Solari does give his team a little bit of leeway in terms of taking damage from Chriso, but the Void Staff already being finished kind of negates a lot of the stuff that goes behind that. It's a very minimal shield as well, and when you're dealing with the damage that Chriso is putting out, you're not going to be surviving long even on top of that shield.
Yeah, and it's really, it's been more so that like Perilous Rift have been just over aggressive. They've been trying to find picks that sometimes have worked out, like when they caught Samwise out at the Dragon area, but then they've just kind of pushed it on even further and didn't really know when to stop, and then it just turned out completely backwards.
I feel like Ramel is trying to play LeBlanc in the way that you used to play her pre-silence nerf. You look to get those engages right in the middle of the team, knowing that even the guy that you're attacking could not effectively respond. You're seeing now that he's going in for it, and you're actually getting a response from the person he's trying to burst down, and then the team from FM are immediately collapsing. You're seeing that essentially Ramel getting so much damage down onto him before these fights start, are just losing every single piece of pressure that Rift are looking to put down on the map. And it's so difficult to come back when the guy that really got you snowballing early on is starting to suffer in terms of gold. Really,
really is. And now, if you were Rift, where do you go from here? You've lost the last two dragons almost pretty damn convincingly. You now know that Baron is on the cards because you have huge amount of damage. There's a Frozen Heart just about finished off there for Gnar, or for Tundra in that top lane. He's not going to die anytime soon. Where do you go if you're Rift? What do you do? What do you have to do? Or can you do anything?
It's difficult now. They've got a very, very powerful Chunky in that top lane on Aatrox. They have a team that is really centered around picks, and I feel like they've been trying to make those picks work, but haven't quite been just getting that finesse that requires to get something, or either they've been over-aggressing once they've made a pick. You've seen some really good plays from Rift. They've actually managed to get Samwise down in a pick, they've managed to take out Dan sometimes, but they then look to further exploit that. They look to take that and try and go a little bit further, and you're seeing that over-aggression is often costing them a lot of map pressure. Really difficult to come back from that when you are then getting collapsed on by the team that has this backline artillery cannon in the form of Chriso just doing work for you. And he's really, really the key focal point for FM right now. If Xerath wasn't putting this pre-fight damage down, you'd find these games were going completely differently. All these fights would be so even. But then you've got this big frontline Tundra. He's doing all of the work in terms of CC. He's being that annoyance that Gnar can be. And no one is getting down to Chriso because there's so much difficult to get past that Gnar. You really have to look to either all in on Chriso, but then you sometimes will find yourself in a position that you don't want to be in, i.e. way behind the lineup of FM. And obviously, some of the Rift lineup couldn't follow up that far without taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I think the difference as well between FM and Rift in these senses that they're both making picks, but the timing for Rift's picks hasn't been ideal. They've always been 2 minutes off Dragon. They've always been kind of away from the fight and away from like pushed lanes. So I really feel like they need to, because as we just saw a couple of times, every time FM get a kill, it turns into a tower, a Dragon, 2 towers with an inhibitor twice now. So they need to sort that out.
They are choosing their fights wisely, and like we said, they're really looking to make something from these engages. You're seeing that they're making the picks and the fights around somewhere that they can get something from. You saw earlier, Rift tried to do the same. They had a really good team fight, but then couldn't look to capitalize it. They chose the wrong objectives. They chose the wrong areas for pressure. Oh, wow, engage though.
Yeah, here we go. Max trying to come in. Here comes the tidal wave there. The 3-man Cataclysm. He's going to jump in now into LeBlanc and Jaren both coming down. But Chriso and Samwise are completely untouched in this fight. Gnar ultimate not hit anything, but it doesn't need to. As here comes the Grand Skyfall. They're trying to jump back onto the stair Scott. They know they don't even need to kill him at this stage. They lost nobody. They kited back perfectly. Nobody jumped on top of Samwise or Chriso. Great fight for FM.
You saw Rift trying to do exactly what we think they should do, get deep into the fight and try and get damage down onto Chriso, but Ramil is looking to follow up. Oh my word, Hado gets deleted right there. He is off this map, and this is going to be potential Baron. But FM right now, they're looking to exploit all their fights that they're taking. Rift, however, they tried to dive Chriso in that last fight, and they found that they just didn't have the sustainability to be that deep into the FM lineup and survive. And you saw that exactly.
It really is. FM are just too far ahead at this stage. They have so much gold, they have so much power, they have so much happening. Let's have a look at that fight again. It was all right from Rift, but they're just too far ahead.
Yeah, here we go. Maxwell, he's trying to get to Chriso to do something. You see Ramil coming from the side, but immediately gets stunned up. Samwise in the backline too, and then there's Tundra trying to use his ultimate, Chunky having to flash away, but you saw it was all focused onto Ramil right there, and it didn't work out. Sorry, onto Chriso. Ramil got deleted before he could do anything.
Yeah, Ramil, he has got his Void Stab, he's has got his Deathfire Grass and his Morella Nomcom, but I don't feel it's enough at this stage. He's not able to jump onto the Samwise, who has got his Valkyrie on Corkery, and they're just going to siege up this top lane. They've got the Baron, they've got super minions in either lane. Realistically, this is just them pushing to win. Realistically,
there's nothing else that's going to come on this now. They've got the Baron, they've got so much pressure, you cannot take out Chriso, who's got all of his summoners right now, so even if a magical team fight went in their favor, Chriso has still got so many defensive options to look to. And Chunky, oh my lord.
Oh god, there we go. Maxlord jumps in and trying to get another good tidal wave, keeps Hado out of the fight. Maxlord dies immediately, right at the Arcane comes out as well. They're trying to catch somebody. Ramil gets hit by a house and he's going to go down. It's not going to be enough though to try and stop. They're trying out valiantly. Sir Scott gets flashed upon. Chriso gets that kill. They're going to keep jumping. Chunky trying to get something out of it. Double kill there for Chriso. It's just so much. Bloodwell, it's going to keep you, but only going to prolong the inevitable. Triple kill going on to Chriso. They're going to turn onto the Nexus turret, and that is going to be the game.
I could not think of a more fitting end for FM. Their big star player picks up a triple kill. Props to Chriso right there. He has played out of his skin. Really looked and dominated team fights and pre-team fights. The guy has been on fire. Maxwell looking to do something, but it will be futile.
Yeah, absolutely. Nexus turret's going down. There's going to be one or two last things. There comes Maxlor. He tries to go in. He gets knocked back anyway. And that is going to be the first victory of this best of 3 series going in favor of FM eSports. That's a big momentum swing for these two giants.
I mean, we've talked about it so much, but what more can you say? FM just dominated the team fights. They made picks when they counted and exploited global macro objectives from those picks. They had Chriso in the backline. He was the star right there. I don't expect we'll be seeing a Xerath on him anytime soon. Ramil obviously has that in his arsenal as well. Could be a first pick potential, but likely not going to be seeing it on Chriso again after that performance. But a really great all-round team fight and team fight performance from FM.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's game 1 going in favor of FM eSports. And it really did help them out in that sense, because we know that sometimes FM do tend to kind of get caught out and caught into the tilt mode sometimes. Doesn't really help them out as much. But they come out, game 1, they can try snowball this, but I feel like Rift have something left in the tank. They may come back out, hopefully, kind of give us a great game in game 2. But that's us for the moment, guys. We'll be right back. We're sending it over to Panky and the guys, the analyst desk.
What a first game, guys.
Amazing.
We knew this was going to be a close series. We knew Rift and FM were two big teams, but what an explosive start. Let's dive straight on into these things. We saw Ramil, we wanted him to be, and we know that Rift wanted to be that big carry player. His LeBlanc, though, never quite found the mark.
He did in the early game. That's the sad thing, really. He got a great roam off into top lane, got that level 4 roam, did superbly well to get the kill on Tundra, got another roam at level 8 as well, got a couple of kills in the top lane, and then just he kept going a little bit too deep. He kept going a little bit too aggressive. As Scoundrel said, he was playing as if he still had a silence, which he doesn't, and he needed to wait for the rest of his team to go in, and then he'd be able to follow up on that engage.
Definitely, and when you're playing LeBlanc like that, yeah, his early game was good. He roamed top lane, got a kill, first blood. However, it's when it got toward the mid and late game when it gets harder to play champions, assassins mainly, such as LeBlanc. I felt he went in at the wrong times. For example, against FM, they had superior vision control throughout the fights, especially like when Dragon comes up. When you pick LeBlanc, the reasons why people are picking her right now is because of the early game dominance, the roaming, which he did well. However, when it comes to the Dragon control, your goal is to almost either delete one person from the Dragon fight or take them down so low that they have to go back.
Yeah. We saw him try and do that a couple of times, but he kept coming into the Dragon fight through tiny pathways, and Xerath would just nuke him down in the way, and they had to back off and give it up. What we did see a couple of times on the second Dragon fight especially, Corki, his Trinity Force, had a huge power spike and really controlled that.
I mean, by the time Corki had a Trinity Force, there was only a pickaxe and an Avarice Blade on the side of the other AD carry. So it was just a lot of extra pressure, a lot of extra objective control as well. With the Phosphorus Bomb, all of that extra magic damage you're getting as an AD carry. It's just, FM really used their item thresholds a little bit better than Rift in this game.
Exactly like you said, FM really took advantage of their power spikes, their item spikes. Corki back got a Trinity Force, whilst, like you said, Lucian only was just holding on to a pickaxe, a Doran's, and an Avarice Blade. And an Avarice Blade isn't really a combat item, especially when FM they probably just said, okay, let's group for this Dragon. we have Triforce and Corki. Lucian doesn't even have his Trinity, his IE, sorry, yet, his Infinity Edge, and they took it. They took the dragon without any contestation, and I think someone got sent back from that fight as well, which made it a 5v4, and it was just the free dragon for FM.
So we mentioned in the pre-game how these teams focus a lot on specific players to make that play in a team fight before piling on in to follow it up. We do now have a replay as well of just one of these fights coming up. So talk us through this, talk us through that, and point us out who it is they're putting their focus on here.
Well, this is a replay of just one of the mid-game fights, and we see how much pressure FM are putting down. Chriso, with those Volcano posters, does a lot. Ramil tries to get in from the side. He's trying to get onto Tundra, but look at how much damage comes down with the Rise of the Arcane onto Sir Scott in the backline. Chunky jumps in. The rest of his team is too low to join in, and it means that FM can just clean up. The Arcano pulses from Chriso were absolutely superb. Locked down both Ramil and Sir Scott, and then Chunky gets caught out at the end as well.
And what I want to point out from that fight was Chunky was in the top lane pressuring, split pushing, and then he rotated to try and flank. However, when he went in, that's when Sir Scott and Ramil took a bit of poke from the Xerath, from Crystal Xerath, and they were out of the fight. So Rift had 2 carries out of the fight. It was a 3v5, and it just shows the amazing communication between FM. They, as soon as Chunky went in, they all collapsed. They backed off from the tower and just focused 5-man onto that Aatrox, and he just got destroyed. He just disappeared, and then from that fight it just shows like Rift was, like, where was communication between Chunky going in and Ramil and Sir Scott saying, oh guys, I'm low, I can't go in, let's just back off, or we give up the tower.
So we also saw, as you mentioned, LeBlanc did well in the early game. We also saw a great laning phase from Aatrox. We did not think he was going to do that well against Gnar. So when it comes to game 2, are we looking at similar picks from Rift? Are you happy with how that pick ban phase went for them? Is it purely a decision-based late game change they have to make?
I liked how I was questioning the Aatrox pick into the Gnar first. However, I liked how he started a cloth pot and 5 potions. He out-sustained Tundra's Gnar, and he forced trades. He has 5 potions. Tundra had 1 and a Doran's Blade, but that Doran Blade lifesteal isn't going to out-sustain Aatrox's passive from his W or his 5 potions. And you saw it, like they just constantly traded, backed off, and when Gnar is lower HP than the Aatrox, you know you're in for a bad lane. Yeah,
we also saw a lot of focus from both junglers again towards the top lane, as we sort of expected from the previous patches. But with the lane switching up, with obviously red and blue side swapping over now, do you think either team's going to change that?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see FM put a little bit less impetus in the top lane. They like to get that dragon control, and if you're on red side, you have to put your jungler a little bit more towards the bottom side of the map just to get that extra dragon control. On blue side, you have a little bit more freedom to go towards the top side of the map, but I expect FM will probably leave Tundra on a bit more of an island in this game. Let him farm up by himself, especially if he gets one of his later game champions like an Aurelia or something like that, and then put more pressure on the mid lane and then try and get the dragon pressure from there.
Okay, so we're going to run to a very quick advert break, and when we come back, we'll find out exactly what they do choose to pick in the second game of this best of 3.